This week's demonstration is brought to you in association with BusyKnits.com, the online craft social network.
Hello and welcome to the Crafts channel. I'm Chelsea Clark and we have Corinne Bradd with us today, who's going to be demonstrating how to make a multicoloured flower ball.
Hi,
so
Chelsea.
Over to you, Corinne. Tell us a bit more.
Yeah, these balls are really simple to make. You've probably seen them. I mean, there's pictures online. You can make them with just a plain circle, and they're 12-sided balls that you cut slits in and then you slot it together.
Okay.
If you do it with a circle, you've then got to sit there with a ruler and a protractor
Right.
and work out the angles, because you've got to make the cuts evenly around the circumference of the circle. So I cheated and I got a die cut machine and a set of flower dies.
Oh, right, okay.
Because they've got 5 petals. They've done all the measuring for you. For example, you know, the distance that you've got here is perfect. You don't have to worry about any measuring or any flower template that you've got, a 5-petaled flower template that you've got. Just draw around it and cut the shapes out.
Brilliant.
So when you've got this, simply fold your petals in.
Simple enough.
Yep, using the V shapes as a guide to where you need to fold them. Ooh.
That's lovely. And that will make the bigger one, will it?
That will make that size, yeah. And then all you need to do is you just cut slits from the one side of the V to just past the middle of that petal. You can use your eye as a guide, because the other thing is if you don't cut it quite far enough, you can always re-snip it. Make sure that you cut in the same direction each time.
That's important then,
yeah,
isn't it?
it is. Because, you see, when I looked at the pictures, I was thinking, how on earth do they slot them together? How do you know which way to cut it? And it's simple. You just make sure that every cut goes in, say, an anti-clockwise direction if you're using your right hand, or if you were cutting with your left hand, you'd find it easier to go clockwise.
Yeah. I see, yeah, I can see that.
So what you need to do, you need 12 of these shapes altogether. I've done sort of 6 pairs, so that when we make the completed ball, you'll have the same colour on opposite sides of it.
Yeah.
And I've used really bright spring colours because they're great. They're just like nice table decorations.
Yeah, they really are quite pretty, aren't
Well, this
they?
is it, just an arrangement in a bowl, or you could have them as, you know, party decorations.
Yeah.
If you did them in festive colours, you could have them at Christmas. You could hang strings for them as baubles. I've seen some nice Easter tree ideas. You know, instead of Easter eggs, you have brightly coloured baubles.
Oh, okay.
And you were saying, weren't you, about sort of that they remind you of pomanders?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this bowl especially. Yeah.
But because they're hollow on the inside, if you made yourself a simple lavender bag from muslin, you know, just a little pouch, you could pop it inside the ball and then just hang it around the bedroom.
I love that idea.
So
Sweet smell to the house as well.
yes.
Yeah.
So here's 6. I'm going to show you how you make the first half of the ball.
Brilliant.
So choose the colour that you're going to have to work on as your central flower. Okay. And then take another colour and you simply slot. Oh yes, I have cut it. I thought for a minute I'd pick one up that I hadn't cut. Slot that into there.
They just meet up.
They just meet up, yeah. I mean, that I haven't, you can see I haven't cut that quite enough to the centre. I'm just going to recut this bit a tad. So you're slotting in your second piece to your first piece. Then what you need to do is you find another piece. Actually, let's go in this direction. It's a very bright pink. This will probably show up really neon on the camera.
That is lovely.
I mean, the card, there's so much beautiful coloured card out there at the minute. I mean, you probably see from the array that I've got here and the other flowers that I've cut, you can combine colours. And sometimes you'd think 2 colours wouldn't go together, and they just look so beautiful.
They do.
I like that one. That's quite pastel and spring-like.
Yeah, that matches really well, this one.
Yeah, and then there's an autumnal one in the ball there as well. So say any colour scheme to change it to the time of year. Now, when you put your second bit in, you need to slot flower 3 into flower 2, and then because you've got to put it in the base, just ease it in. The good thing is because you've bent those petals over, you can manipulate it a lot more easily.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's in there. And then you'll carry on. I'm just going to quickly carry on. Which colour next? The green one in here. And you'll see why I'm doing it in a specific order.
Yeah. And they look great, and I suppose they can tie any colour scheme together if you've got a specific theme running through?
Well, yeah, I mean, if
your
you think,
house?
if you've got a living room and it's predominantly white and,
Yeah.
if you don't have any kids or animals and you've got a nice white sofa with a coffee table by the side of it, just to add a splash of colour by putting a vibrant display of these flower balls. And they're so, that really, you don't even need any specialist equipment. If you've got a flower template that's 5 petals and a pair of scissors and a pencil, you can make them.
Easy as anything.
Right, when you come to put the 6th flower on, you've then got to link it in to the 3 petals here.
Right, so is that the more tricky part
Yeah,
then?
it is more tricky. What I suggest you do is don't try and push them right down completely. Just slot them in like this.
Oh.
And then you can more or less twist it in. And that completes the first half of your ball.
Yeah, well, you made that look very easy. It looks like...
It's easier doing it on camera than it was doing it at home. I really thought I was going to mess that up, actually, doing that.
That's perfect.
You could leave it as a butter. You could have it, you were saying party favours,
Yeah.
as a cupcake cake.
It does remind me of a cupcake case, and it's nice people that obviously are really good at decorating the cupcakes want to present them in
Well, I mean, if you've got a
way.
wedding, I mean, a lot of people are doing their own weddings these days, and a lot of people choose to have a cupcake wedding cake rather than a massive, 7-tier fruit cake.
Absolutely.
You could have displays of this on a cake, a tiered cake
Yeah,
stand.
great tip.
They'd look great. So that's your first half. I've done the second half already, and you'll notice the second half is a complete mirror image of the first.
It is.
So the oranges are there, the yellows are there.
And is it best to do it that way always?
This is just my preference.
Oh, okay.
You can mix the colours up as you like, but what I wanted to make sure was when you flip one over to put it on top, that the opposite colours, so they were distinctly different.
Yeah.
And now all you've got to do is the point of that flower fits into the dip between the 2 flowers. And again, you just need to go round and lock in all these petals.
Oh, lovely.
That's the point where you'd put your lavender bag inside if you wanted to do it before you're locking them in. Just make sure they're all eased out. And if you think at any point that you may not have locked in all the petals, because I've done it in different colours, you'll soon find out if there's one that you've missed, because you'll have 2 colours on the same side, like this. Whereas once it's locked in, you've got a different colour on it. So I think I've nearly done that. I think you'd have about, there'd be 10 flaps to lock in. Oh, there's another one there.
That's great.
And then once you've got them all so they can be manipulated, then you can tighten them up.
Brilliant.
And the other thing you can do, actually, though I was playing around with it, is you can, if you want, you can flatten down these petals.
To get a different kind of texture and pattern throughout
this is it. If you didn't want the sticky out petals, if you wanted it to be more of like a 12-sided shape, you could flatten them down and then perhaps just put a dab of glue on there.
Well, that makes it
If you flatten them down on all sides, then it's more like a geometric shape. If your decor is not particularly flowery, but you like the idea of a bit of colour, but you've got very straight lines and angular furnishings.
That's true. I quite like it when they don't completely marry up, because it actually looks quite nice when you see the different colours on
if you
each
take your
side.
time and you cut your slits accurately, they will marry up. The other thing that you can do, if you really, if you're concerned that it's not right, is you can just put a bit of glue in between those 2 pieces and hold it down.
Perfect.
Yeah, if you want it absolutely perfect. But the no flower is 100% symmetrical, is it?
Of course not.
And I quite like that, a handmade look to it.
Yeah.
So there's another one to go in the bowl.
There we go. Well, that's great. Thanks so much for that,
That's
Corinne.
okay.
And if you want to receive notifications on the latest tutorials and demonstrations, don't forget to subscribe to the Crafts channel. Thanks so much.